Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. This morning, I woke up to some horrible news, and I'm sure that by now you have heard about it as well. Apparently, the worst mass shooting in American history occurred this morning. Over 50 people are dead. 53 people were injured. Apparently, suspect Omar Mateen went into a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida at around 2 a.m. and began shooting people. And at some point, he held hostages. And from what I understand, SWAT went into the club and they shot and killed the suspect. They say that this suspect doesn't have a criminal record. They also say that at one point, he was connected to people that were on a terrorist watch list. He allegedly had connections with radicals, had connections with extremists. Right now, they don't know the motivation. They don't know if this was an act of terrorism or if it was an act of hate, like a hate crime. But regardless of that, we know that this is a horrible tragedy, one of the worst tragedies in American modern history. And I just take time to send my condolences to the victims and their families, regardless of what the motivation is. This is a despicable act of violence that needs to be universally condemned. No matter what kind of lifestyle these people chose that were attending that club, they are human beings. They have the right to live. No one has the right to attack those people, to kill those people simply because of their lifestyle choices. In America, people have the right to make personal decisions in their life. They have the right to live free as they choose to live. No one should be persecuted, beaten, or killed simply because of their personal, intimate decisions. They shouldn't be persecuted. They shouldn't be brutalized. They shouldn't be killed. Although they say that they don't know the motivations behind this act, I'll just say this smells like terrorism. This looks like terrorism. And in all likelihood, this is terrorism. According to the news reports, the suspect saw two men kissing a while ago and he became infuriated by that. So it's possible that he may be motivated by his hatred towards gay people. I don't understand people that commit these kinds of acts. I simply don't understand their mentality or their motivation. These people are sick to me. These people are demonic to me. These people are evil. These people that commit these kinds of acts. Why are you, as an individual, so concerned about somebody else's sexuality that you would take it to the level of committing this kind of brutality against them? If this crime was motivated by religion, it's a prime example of brainwashing. It's an example of someone no longer using their intellect and just being driven and motivated and animated by hatred. How are those people harming you? By having their own lifestyle, by going to a particular club. That has nothing to do with that person who committed the crime. Now, we know that there's probably going to be an anti-Muslim backlash because of this crime. We know this. We know that there's going to be hatred directed towards Muslims, much like how this person has directed his hatred towards gay people. This terrorist needs to be judged as an individual. Unfortunately, too often, terrorism takes place in the name of religion. Too often, people hide under religion. They use religion as a cover for their violence, for their brutality, for their barbarism. And people will use this crime as a justification for more crimes and more hatred against Muslim people. That terrorist, and I'm going to go ahead and call him a terrorist because that's what he is. That terrorist doesn't represent most decent, law-abiding, pious Muslims. He represents a far extreme version of Islam, assuming that this is a Muslim committing this act, assuming that he is motivated by a radical fundamentalist interpretation of Islam. People who commit these acts accomplish absolutely nothing. All they do is throw fuel onto the fire. That's all they do. All they do is help motivate and inspire other hate mongers. Hate begets hate. All this does is help elect people like Donald Trump, people that have an anti-Muslim attitude and sentiment, people that want to bar Muslims from entering this country, people that want to close mosques, people that want to monitor all Muslims in all mosques, people that want to declare war abroad, invading country after country. This just inspires them. This gives them justification for what they already intended to do. So these terrorists, they're not doing any kind of service to anyone but their own self-motivated hatred. They are only promoting their own self-interest. And they end up not even promoting that because they end up dead. And this person is not a martyr. This person is a murderer. He's not a martyr. He's a murderer. He's not a hero. He's a killer. And frankly, I just get tired of doing these kind of videos, but I have to make my voice heard. I get tired of talking about these acts of terrorism that constantly occur, whether it's in Belgium or Paris or Nigeria or Kenya. I get tired of talking about it. I get tired of trying to explain to the world that these people don't represent Islam. It gets hard to say that when every other one of these incidents is committed by somebody claiming to be a Muslim, claiming to do this brutality in the name of Islam. It gets real hard and difficult. But I know in my heart that these people don't represent Islam. And I will continue to say that until I can't say it anymore, until my very last breath. I will continue to condemn these people because they commit evil in the name of religion. Now, I just want to go on to talk about the issue of gun control. This suspect had an assault rifle. He had a legal right to possess that assault rifle. From what I understand, he had a license for it. He had a license for his other gun. Most of these mass shootings are committed by people that have assault rifles. They have large magazines that carry multiple bullets. So those kinds of weapons are most effective in these kind of mass shootings. And despite all these tragedies that happen all over this country, time and time again, despite all these tragedies, all these lives lost, Congress doesn't do anything to ban these types of weapons. Congress is a house of cowardice. Congress is a house of puppets. The NRA controls Congress. So for that reason, they're not willing to pass any kind of reasonable gun control laws. And the blood of these victims is on Congress's hands because they have been warned time and time again about these kinds of crimes that are being committed all around this country. After Sandy Hook, after that killer killed all those children, Congress failed to act. Congress failed to act when a deranged gunman injured one of their own, severely injured one of their own, to the point that she suffered brain damage and she's incapacitated to a large degree. She can barely speak, barely walk properly because of the gun injuries. Congress failed to act despite that. Despite all these mass killings after mass killings after mass killings, Congress does nothing. So the blood is on Congress's hands. Congress should be ashamed of itself. For all intents and purposes, they killed those people in Orlando. They killed them by their failure to act. We just need reasonable gun control laws in this country. Action needs to be taken. Action needs to be taken. We just need a more tolerant and understanding world. But I really doubt that we'll ever reach that point. We need a world that realizes that people are different. You may not like the way somebody lives or their lifestyle or their choices or their decisions, but that doesn't give you a right to commit all kinds of crimes against them. That doesn't give you a right to discriminate against them in their employment and all this stuff. You may not agree with somebody's religious choice, but that doesn't give you a right to hate them, to attack them, and to discriminate against them. So those are my thoughts about this issue, and I probably will be posting more videos on this subject as the story develops, as we get more information about what happened. I just hope that people don't post those kinds of videos that they've done, like on Belgium and on Paris, basically celebrating it in a certain sense by saying who cares about France and who cares about Belgium. I just hope they don't post a video talking about who cares about Orlando. Because today it's the homosexuals that were targeted. Tomorrow it could be a church. Tomorrow it could be a synagogue. Tomorrow it could be a mall or an airport. and you're just walking about minding your business and some terrorist commits some act of brutality. So think about that. Just think about it.